Family, starring Ezra Stone and written by Clifford Goldsmith, brought to you by Jell-O Puddings, those delicious new desserts all America's been talking about. They say the happiest years of life are the teens, but I know one person who has his doubts. Henry Aldrich. Henry has all the troubles and growing pains that most boys go through in their high school days, for Henry is a typical American boy. The scene opens in the Aldrich kitchen. The time is Saturday morning.
But, Mother, why won't you?
Because we can't afford it, Henry.
We can't afford just 8 cents?
I'm sorry, but that is the condition this family is in.
We can't afford 8 cents for what, Mother?
Believe it or not, Mary, we can't afford just 8 cents worth of breakfast food.
You mean Father's lost his law practice?
Your father has not lost his law practice. That 8 cents would be only the beginning.
Of what?
Well, Dizzy and I are saving breakfast food coupons, Mary, to get an outboard motor for a rowboat. And all I'm doing is asking Mother to stock up.
Yes, dear. And you might also explain that all you need is 12,000 coupons.
But we don't, Mother. We've already got quite a few. All we need now is 11,214.
Well, we are not stocking up with any 11,214 packages of breakfast food.
I'm not asking anything so ridiculous, Mother. At the most, I'm just asking you to buy 200 packages.
All at once, Henry?
Sure, we can use that in a year, easy.
Henry, I don't want to hear anything more about it.
Okay. Has Mr. Sutherland called this morning?
Not that I know of.
What would he be calling for?
Nothing, Mother. Just something I asked him to call me about.
Isn't he your Sunday school teacher, Henry?
Yes, Mary. Mother, have you tried looking at it from this way? If I were asking you to buy chewing gum or candy, it might be different. But breakfast food. Think of all the nourishment there'd be in 200 boxes.
And where would we keep 200 boxes?
Right here in the kitchen, where they'd be handy.
And where would I cook?
All right. You cook here in the kitchen, and I'll give over my room to the breakfast food.
And then you can spend all your time up there reading it.
All right, Mary. Ridicule me today, but wait until you look out on a lake someday and see me in a rowboat with a 2.5 horsepower outboard motor on it. Then maybe you won't think I'm so humorous.
Won't I? I'll answer the phone.
Mother, as soon as Mary is through with that call, do you mind if I phone Father's office?
What for, dear?
Well, I want to remind him to get the folks at his office saving coupons.
Henry, I don't like to discourage every suggestion you make, but I happen to know that your father is extremely busy preparing a case to be tried in court next week.
But, Mother, this wouldn't take 10 seconds. And if I can get everyone at his office eating good breakfast, maybe his whole practice will pick up.
You are not going to bother him, dear. And incidentally, your father does not want you to bother Judge Thompson's family anymore either.
I haven't been bothering the Thompsons.
You've been trying to get Mrs. Thompson to save coupons for you, and your father finds it quite embarrassing when he has to try cases before Judge Thompson.
But Judge Thompson ought to be grateful.
In what way?
I'm employing his son.
I beg your pardon?
Sure, didn't I tell you? Freddie works for me.
Doing what?
Eating breakfast food. I pay him.
And who pays for the breakfast food?
Judge Thompson. But Freddie's got to eat something, hasn't he? And he might as well eat this and have it count towards something.
Henry, Mr. Sutherland just phoned and left a message for you.
For me?
Yes, Henry. He said that he'd considered your proposition, and he didn't think it would be ethical.
It wouldn't be ethical. It wouldn't be ethical. Huh. Can you imagine that?
What did you ask him to do, Henry?
Well, if that isn't the most absurd thing I ever heard of.
What did you ask him to do?
The most simple thing in the world. All I asked him to do was to suggest at Sunday school that the class lend me a hand and eat my kind of breakfast food.
Henry Aldrich.
I don't blame you for feeling that way, Mother. It wouldn't have hurt him to ask him. And I would have been perfectly willing to give him a commission.
I believe it.
Well, you know what I'm going to do?
What?
I'm going to change my church.
Oh, no, you're not, Henry.
Oh, yes, I am, Mother. If you ask me, I don't think Mr. Sutherland has a Christian-like attitude.
Will one you see who's at the front door, please?
I'll go, Mary. It may be one of the men I have working for me.
Hello, Henry.
Oh, hello, Freddie. Come on in.
I got some bad news for you.
Yeah?
My mother says I can't eat so much breakfast food.
Why not?
My father wants to buy a car.
What's that got to do with it?
We need the money.
But I'm paying you good money.
But look at what you're paying me. 50 cents for every 500 coupons.
All right, if you keep on saving, I'll give you an interest in the motorboat, too.
I still don't think my folks can afford it.
Well, why don't you ask them which they'd rather have, a car or a motorboat?
But my father can't go to the courthouse in a motorboat, can he?
Freddie, I'm not sure, but I think I just had an idea.
Yeah? What else have I got to eat?
Nothing. All you have to do is sit back and count. Where's your father buying the car?
I heard him mention Johnson's Automobile Agency.
Well, let's go down there.
Why?
Well, if Johnson wants your father's business, they ought to be willing to cooperate a little, shouldn't they?
How?
By saving breakfast food coupons for us. Come on, Freddie. Let's put it up to them.
Joe, see who the two gentlemen are out in the showroom.
Okay, Mr. Johnson. Hi. What can I do for you?
How do you do? We're just looking.
They have some very nice cars here.
Are you buying a car?
Well, we aren't exactly, but a friend of ours is.
He is.
Yeah, and he asked us to sort of look around for him.
What's his name?
Well, I'm not sure he'd want his name mentioned just now.
He just wants your advice.
Yes, sir.
How much is that car?
$7.95.
That's the kind he's considering.
How much is that sedan over there?
$28.40.
2,840?
Yes, sir.
Is that FOB or delivered?
FOB.
How many spare tires does that include?
2.
Only 2.
You mind if we try sitting in it?
Do you have to sit in that one?
Well, we would like to see what it's like.
No.
You sit in the back, Henry.
Why should I sit in the back?
Who's buying this?
Boys, let me show you something. When you push each other against the doors like that, it scratches.
Gee, that's the trouble with a black car. It shows every button you've got.
Gee, I must have hit it.
Don't touch anything in there.
No, sir.
Not a bad dash, Freddie.
I don't like it as well as last year's, Henry.
Yeah, well, is that the speedometer?
That's the clock.
That isn't the right time, though, is it?
It isn't even running.
What's this here?
That's an ash receptacle. Would you mind putting it back, please?
Gee, it broke right off.
I asked you not to touch it.
I know, but it shouldn't break like that.
Well, what do you know about that?
You mind my asking, does either of you have $2,800 in your pocket?
I haven't.
Do you have it between you?
No, sir.
Well, will you step real carefully, like, out of the car?
Wouldn't you be interested in our making an offer?
For this job?
Well, it's a proposition for any car.
No.
But we know somebody that's buying.
Well, what's your offer?
Well, do you mind if I ask what you eat for breakfast?
What's that got to do with it?
Wouldn't hurt to tell us, would it?
Would you mind getting out of this? And out of this showroom?
Sure. We'll get out gladly. I guess he doesn't know who your father is, Freddie.
Nor do I care who he is.
What is it, Joe?
Just a couple of wanderers.
I guess you don't want his father to buy his car here, huh?
Who is his father?
Judge Thompson.
You're Judge Thompson's boy?
I sure am.
Well, certainly glad to know you, young man.
Thank you.
How do you do? I'm the son of Sam Aldrich.
Sam Aldrich. Well, you look just like him.
Yes, sir. That's what everybody says.
Well, make yourselves at home here.
Yes, sir.
You want the rest of your fenders ruined?
Now, what's a pin scratch? Now, if there are any questions you'd like to ask, boys, just begin to shoot.
Yeah? What kind of breakfast food do you eat? What's that?
You heard him.
Yeah, you see, we're saving coupons, and we thought maybe...
What kind of coupon?
Well, I've got one right here in my pocket. Here it is.
We don't eat that kind right now, but I'll certainly speak to my wife about it.
You will?
I'll get her to try it someday.
You couldn't get her to start tomorrow morning, could you?
Well, Joe, see this coupon?
Yeah?
Beginning tomorrow morning, you get your wife to save these.
You mean I gotta give up cinnamon buns?
Well, we're going to help these boys out. Tell the fellas out in the shop they're to eat this, too.
Oh, gee, that's pretty nice of you.
But here's what you're to do for me. The judge, believe it or not, is thinking of buying one from the Yellow Arrow people. It's a good car if you don't want to drive it very far.
The Yellow Arrow?
And you'll tell him about our car.
Oh, sure. Which model here do you think your dad would like, Freddie?
I like that $2,800 job.
You hear that, Joe? The boys have taste.
You think so?
Now then, when would you like to have us send a demonstration car over for you?
To ride in?
Sure.
Well, gee, are you doing anything next week, Henry?
Not that I'd planned.
Next week it is. Now, here, boys, before you go, I've got something for you. Right here on this table, here's 2 blotters for you, young man, and 2 blotters for you.
Well, gee whiz, what'll it be next?
You'll find that we'll treat you right.
Mr. Johnson,
What?
isn't that Judge Thompson across the street?
Judge Thompson?
So it is.
You'd like to have me call him?
I don't think you ought to bother him right now. He's probably in a rush someplace.
Well, let's call him anyhow.
Well, he may not like to be pushed into a sale.
Oh, Judge.
Hey, Judge. Yes?
I'd like to have you come back here to the showroom a minute.
I couldn't possibly stop right now. That you in there, Freddie?
Henry wanted me to look at something.
Don't be late for lunch.
Well, it's too bad he isn't going to come in.
Yeah, it is. Isn't it?
Well, I guess we better be going ourselves.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Put in a word for us.
Come on, Freddie. We've got to hurry.
Where are we going now?
Where do you think? Why just stop at Mr. Johnson's? Let's get the Yellow Arrow Company eating for us, too. Come on.
Well, Henry doesn't miss a trick, does he? And while he's trying to persuade the Yellow Arrow Company to do a little eating for him, I'd like to mention something about eating myself, something I bet all of you ladies will agree with. It's simply this. The real spice and charm of family suppers is in variety. Something new and different all the time. Lots of good desserts at your fingertips. There's the trick. And Jell-O puddings are one mighty swell answer. For you can have infinite variety easily and inexpensively. For instance, serve Jell-O vanilla pudding with juicy raisins added, or a covering of fluffy coconut, or fold in some tempting chopped dates. Jell-O vanilla pudding has a mellow, bland flavor that combines perfectly with fruits or coconut and gives you a new treat every time. Then try Jell-O chocolate pudding, rich and dark and luscious, and Jell-O butterscotch pudding, as mouth-watering as golden taffy candy with a wonderful smooth richness. All 3 Jell-O puddings are quick as a flash to make. Simple directions are in every package. And when you've tried these 3 grand new desserts, you'll know why every day more and more people are saying to their grocers, "Give me Jell-O puddings in all 3 luscious flavors." From Henry Aldrich's activity over the last few days, his coupons should be arriving in truckloads. We pick him up now as he is counting with Freddie in Judge Thompson's home.
2,465, 2,466. I'm getting tired, Freddie.
Don't tell me you want to stop.
Maybe it's because I don't like to do anything that's wrong.
Well, go on and count, Henry.
Okay. 2,467. Listen, Freddie. Do you think that what we've been doing resembles bribery?
Bribery?
My father thinks it does.
How does he even know about it?
In an unguarded moment, I told him.
Everything?
Well, just 1 or 2 of the high spots. And he says we ought to go to your father and confess.
Forget it. All we've done is ask somebody to save a few breakfast food coupons.
Sure. That's the way I think I'll look at it. And besides, Mr. Johnson hasn't even given all of his yet.
That's what I say.
Well, 2,468, 2,000... No matter what you say, Freddie, I'm going to tell your father.
Henry, do you want to make the mistake of your life?
But it was last Saturday that we did it, and I haven't slept since.
Well, don't go down to the courthouse to confess it.
You mean it would make it legal if I did it down there?
He doesn't like to be bothered. He's very strict about a thing like that.
Hello, Freddie.
Where did you come from, Father?
I spend Saturday afternoon at home. Mother here?
She's out someplace.
Who's that in there with you?
Just Henry.
Where?
Judge Thompson, could I speak with you a minute?
Henry, you're only going to upset him.
Just as soon as I take my coat off and put these packages down.
If you tell him, he's going to look at it from a purely technical point of view.
Yeah, but